Good morning once again. Thank you so much for keeping it on UBC TV, and welcome to GMU Agenda, where we have a guest in studios, a topic of national concern, and later on during the discussion you're able to call and be part of the topic. Give us your opinions and also your questions. Today we are going to be discussing the Manifesto Week. You must remember that in 2016 Ugandans went to the polls and chose among the political parties and individuals that stood who had the best manifesto to give them the leadership of this country. Today we are going to be analyzing, have we achieved the manifesto? What are some of the challenges and what should be the way forward? And with us in studios to discuss this topic is Wills Basaisha, who is the Director, Manifesto Implementation Unit, Office of the President. Good morning, Mr. Basaisha.
Good morning, Robert.
Welcome to the studios of UBC.
Thank you, and good morning, viewers.
Maybe to start with Mr. Basaisha, when we talk about the manifesto, to many Ugandans there are words that we may not understand really what is a manifesto, despite that they could have voted.
Thank you very much. The manifesto is, I could simply term it as like a social contract or a strategic intent for any political party that is interested in competing for power. They have what they wish to do for the citizens of the country. And the manifestos may not only be confined to political party usage. It can even be you as an individual. You can have your personal manifesto about how you want to live your life. It can be about an organization or manifesto on how the organization want to move. So it's just like actions or plans put together and probably agreed on by the interested party who wants to achieve them. But in this case, these are actions and plans and strategic intents of a given organization, which they feel that if they sold this plan to the electorate, it will be viable, it will be appealing, and then from there they can be able to give them their trust. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the theme of the 2016 manifesto, which was taking Uganda to modernity through job creation and inclusive development. To what extent have we achieved this?
Yeah, we have moved very well on this. If you look at the different sectors of the economy, if you look at the roads, road network in the country, if you look at the water network in the country, if you look at the electricity network in the country, if you look at the also the security, the ability for Ugandans to go and do their business at will, then when it comes to the issue of inclusiveness, there has been a lot of support in terms of livelihoods, especially on our vulnerable groups, the youth, the women, so that they can also be part of the development process. And all these investments or interventions in the different sectors have yielded significant positive effects, of which we can say there is a right direction to that theme. Yeah.
Yes, Felix.
Well, of course, I was also trying to find out that this presentation is done in relation to achievements, either in ministerial aspect or departments and what. How many, for example, ministries do we have, or how many departments are there that are meant to see the realization of this manifesto, or how is it done on a spectrum?
When the party assumes power, these commitments, which were in a manifesto, become a blueprint for service delivery, for policy, for service delivery. So we have around 21 ministries, and under them they have different agencies. Let me give you an example, like Ministry of Works and Transport. You have an agency like CAA, Civil Aviation Authority, you have Uganda National Roads Authority, you have Uganda Railways Corporation. So you'll find that if in the commitment we are saying we want to improve the railway sector by doing this, definitely the agency that will be responsible for that is the Uganda Railways Corporation. If you are saying we want to expand Entebbe International Airport, the responsible agency is Civil Aviation Authority. The roads, it is Uganda National Roads Authority. So what happens is that now all these will now be picked on by the different ministries, departments and agencies, depending on the mandates. And then from there, each of them will start implementing according to the targets that we will have set within this framework.
We have had, at least for the few that have done presentations, the ideal, the picture is that so far so good, because I've had most of them 75, 75, 70, 70. How do we reach to these statistics? And this has been the question in very many Ugandans' minds, that are these statistics, do they reflect what's on ground? How do we get these statistics as an institution?
Thank you. First of all, when we are doing that assessment, we do what I would call a realization assessment. And this is largely to do with what were the commitments that were made in as far as achievements in a given sector. So in that respect, if you have read our manifesto, it is like an output-based document. If you made a commitment, a policy commitment of, say, we need to put up, say, health center 3s per sub-county. So the assessment will be, if I go into these sub-counties, is this kind of infrastructure there? And for us, we'll give a tick. So this is the kind of assessment that we give. Now, for you, from your perspective, you may be wanting to know the impact. If we created this, what did it deliver? And I think there are different impact evaluations that are made in that direction depending on the different programs that are being implemented. But for us, on our part as the unit, is to follow through and see how far have we gone as far as making sure that these outputs are realized.
Again, on the same question, Robert, maybe before you come in, because the argument has been, can you be the judge in your own cause? But, in this sense,
no.
Aren't you the judges in your? Maybe let me just ask it in a question. Well, it doesn't look like you are the ones who set your targets and you evaluate your targets yourselves.
This is depending on how you want to look at it. But first of all, I come and make to you a commitment. I like Felix. Tomorrow, I have to buy you a cup of coffee. And then, maybe before time, I give you a call. I said, by the way, we are supposed to have coffee. The coffee will go on, or it will not go on for this and this reason. Now, in that respect, the offer was from me and you accepted. And here I am, because of this challenge, I'm able to not to deliver the coffee. And I think it is also being responsible to tell you that, you know, Felix, we cannot continue with this appointment for reasons this and this. And if the coffee goes ahead and I say, Felix, I'm here, where are you? Come and give the coffee, come and have the coffee. I will say, Felix, I've been having this date with you, and I hope now it is settled, it is covered. And there is no harm in coming and saying, I think as far as I'm concerned on our commitment between me and you, I honored it. So it's
Mr.
not...
Basaisha,
Yes.
These figures are very good, and you've given us how you arrive at them. But how do they trickle down to transforming the lives of an ordinary Ugandan? When you talk about, we saw the Department of Water saying we have about 75% coverage. You have 12 million Ugandans that can't access safe and clean water. When you talk about the roads, yes, infrastructure tremendously. But you go to districts where a road passes through, but you don't have even 5% of the people benefiting from this road, apart from maybe going to visit relatives.
Now, when you say visiting relatives, you even make it a bit more interesting.
Economic activity.
Yes, but I want to say this, that you see we are from somewhere, moving to somewhere. First of all, appreciate where are we coming from. What was the state of the roads? And what are the state of the roads now? How long, for example, does it take you to move from here to Arua if you want to go and do business? And what was it that time? So, all these are cost drivers of the economy. And it is incumbent upon us, the citizens, to take advantage of what has been availed to make sure that we are able to move. And I want to say this, that you know, you'll find that now there is some vibrancy in some sectors by the presence of these infrastructure developments. Somebody can move beans or Irish potatoes from Kabare, and he's here in Kampala in another 4 hours, and he's back in Kabare. Look also at the disease burden, the malaria burden, because of the different interventions we have. These have gone down. What about the distance of service from the facility to probably the homestead? If now you had the Minister of Health saying now 80% of Ugandans can have facilities within 5-kilometer reach. So this is a journey, but this shows that we are also moving, and I can assure you that over time, as we also improve the other software aspects related to that, maybe availability of staff, 100% staffing levels. We have had challenges within the medicine issues, you know, and other related aspects. So that means that probably your question will be answered in that respect.
Maybe also just to add from what my brother asked, what are some of the areas as the Manifesto team where you feel that you have greatly and hit above the bar, and there's the other sectors where you feel you have stalled about or what you would have been?
I will not address that. I will not give my answer trying to follow how the way you have guided. Why? Because some of these commitments are cross-cutting. I find there are different sectors that are having a role to play. If you talk about, say, security, democracy, good governance, there are different sectors that may be playing on this. If you talk about a thematic area like human capital development, you have health, you have education, maybe you have gender also touching around it. So in this respect, the biggest interest of us as we assess is how these commitments are being achieved across those who are implementing. And in this case, that's why I said for us, it's like a realization score. It's not a competitive score where you are saying this sector was competing with this, and therefore we see this one doing better than the other one. Now, but we can be able to say, for example, that in the road sector, there is all the evidence to show that we are doing well. In the electricity sector, there is all the evidence to show now that all the district headquarters in the country are connected. I think apart from Vuma, where they are working on the cables to go through water, and by close of term, all the sub-counties will be connected. So these are realities on the ground.
Yeah, actually, the reason why I asked about the challenges you're faced in particular sectors, not necessarily for criticism, but also it would be good for the team to know how to work better or what to do differently. For example, continuously, our government or the NRM particularly has had challenges with healthcare, you know. And no wonder even His Excellency has acknowledged this a couple of times in most previous addresses, that we're having challenges here. That's where we need to beef up here, I need to buy cars, A, B, C, D. So once you know where the challenge is, probably you know maybe when you're dealing with the budgetary allocations, I think it would also be good for us to know where the things that have pulled back a bit. We look at the education sector, the challenges we are having. Reachable or available education, accessible, how all these things. Look at employment. The government has done tremendous industrialization, but also on the other hand, formal sector versus all these things. That's why I'm asking that, are there areas you think you need to do more? Probably.
First of all, let me say this, is that maybe you also need to change the narrative by first appreciating what we have been able to do.
No doubt.
These issues of the manifesto were largely election issues, and they stopped there. Nobody would be mindful to know what is it that the government pledged and how far is it on informing on this. So by the fact that the government can be now be proactive, come out and inform, that's why we have now like this health debate. So through this we can also be able to assess that maybe when we are handling the other one, was it a priority? Should we have started like that? And that can inform the next thinking. If we still want of ourselves for to compete for power, which areas do we probably need to strategize more than others? I can say that at the moment, of course, like you observed, we have challenges of resources which continue to impact on how we can be able to deliver. As a country, domestically, we can't mobilize what is enough that can make us be able to realize these targets in time. Sometimes you have to rely on the support of the development partners, and we are also mindful of the GP debt ratio so that we keep the economy in control. So like you rightly said, because now we have been able to come out and say this is how we are doing, and the government is responsive, there is accountability. Here we have been able to deliver this, here we have not been able to deliver this for this and these reasons. It can cause citizens engagement and debate and say, I think this is good through validation, because if I'm saying given a health center 3 in your sub-county and you are able to see it there being constructed, you see the school in your sub-county and you can see it being there, you see it being constructed, then you are able to appreciate that. Then now the question can be, we were given a school, but we don't have teachers. I think that's the way we should approach it. Yeah.
Mr. Basasha, when we look at this manifesto, this is the 4th year.
Yeah.
Are you where you would have been in the implementation levels that you had anticipated?
I want to say that we are on a course, depending on the score. We are from the assessment we had, and I think the score that the Right Honorable Prime Minister was communicating to the country of 80% is justifiable, because we have these issues on the ground. They are evidential. You have seen all the ministers who come to present talking about that this is what we have done, and they are also supporting it with the evidence of where they are. Of course, this whole subject of the manifesto is too huge to be presented in one go. However, I want to say that from us who do the assessment, we look at how many commitments that were there. The manifesto was structured in 17 thematic areas, and under each there are different commitments to support that thematic area, the realization of that thematic area. And those were around 512. And from our assessment, 480 something have been realized, which gives us that percentage. Yeah.
80 is a very good percentage in terms of statistics, but of course that is left with some of the questions. But let's look at one of the key impediments to achievements of your manifesto, which is corruption. With all these good percentages and of course some physical, when you talk of a road, everyone will say a road. When you talk of a hospital, people will say the structure, the service is something we can debate another day. But the element of corruption, in all these manifestos so far, since NRM became a political party, and every time we were going for elections, there was zero tolerance for corruption. At this point, how far, what have you achieved in the fight against corruption?
This question has been posed to me a number of times, and I want to say, from the government's commitment, the drive has been there, and the president is very categorical on this matter. Different laws and policies have been reviewed to reinforce that commitment of zero tolerance to corruption. But I also want to agree that corruption is quite complicated. And first of all, in the way it manifests. Secondly, the way it has permeated deeply in our society. So my view would be that probably as Ugandans, we need to have this individual responsibility as citizens and start asking ourselves, what is it that each of us can do in this struggle? Rather than apportioning blame of saying, you know, the president has failed here, the minister has failed here, the institutions have failed here. But what is it that you also at your individual level, as a citizen who doesn't like this corruption, what is it that you can do to deal with this? Because you also look at the legal framework that we use, the common law, you find that there is this common, I don't know how I can call it, but you are presumed innocent until, even if I found you touching that money. So until and this must be done by the courts of law. I cannot find you stealing there and I say, hey, you man, you are corrupt, let me hand you over. Still, I have to prove. They say you are must prove. So it's this fight and the kind of habit we are dealing with being a bit behavioral, funny. I think we must go beyond what we have described or prescribed as policies and laws to deal with it. To me, I think we need now to shift it to the moral angle and then request all Ugandans to say, this is our common enemy, we must come out and fight it together. So that we can complement the effort of the frameworks that there exist.
Also, we must take note that these manifesto presentations take toll amidst the pandemic. The world has been hit, Uganda not any different. If one would ask then, what are some of the challenges or opportunities you would tell us? Or word on the street is that probably there are many opportunities for the government in this time. We don't know how true that is, but what are some of the challenges or the opportunities that have come with this pandemic in the execution of the manifesto of the NRM?
First of all, the focus was to conclude the commitments that we had. And what I may say is that with the coming of this pandemic, which was like an ambush, this has impacted us negatively because the implementation requires resources, requires follow of the plans. So this means that now many of these MDAs which are in charge of implementation may have to realign their planning and budget frameworks for the last quarters because we are about to conclude the financial year. And that would mean now a kind of halt on the programs that we had so that we first deal with this challenge because this is life-threatening challenge. And as the president said, we are at war. So let's all stand still and see how the enemy is moving. And then when we know what his next move is, then we can see how to move in and deal with him. So that also means that in terms of implementation, we have to slow down a bit and see how we first deal with this challenge out of the way, and then we can revert to what we can do. The beauty of this is that the pandemic is also throwing some challenges on probably how we have always looked at certain things, whether in the given commitments really continue to be a priority in our next thinking, or what is it that it has exposed that we can now capture and also turn it into an opportunity and commit ourselves that maybe going forward, this is where we are going to focus, and this is probably how we should be able to benefit in one way or the other.
Again, the manifesto is a representation of the desire, probably, of a party, and what they would, or how they envision leadership or growth, or just to mention but a few. As a party, how do you reach some of these manifesto targets? Because this is also quite, are they, how do you reach these, some of these? For example, you have targets, you say we shall build capacity in power, build dams, ABCD, which is most of it you have achieved. You have seen a lot of energy coming through, all these things. How do we reach these? Why I'm asking is that the expectation would be looking at society, where you would want the society to be, would inform what you desire or what is input in the manifesto, not necessarily what the party would want. So the question is, how do you reach some of these manifesto?
I think each party, because it is not only us, each party has got its own structures that are responsible for this, and I think it is incumbent upon the chairman of each party to see who does what as far as the different activities are concerned. And I think this is drawn from the expertise and experience from the members, and also maybe assessing how probably the different sectors have performed, and also maybe putting into account certain projections of probably how the economy and other sectors will be performing, and then they come to a conclusion that this is what we can be able to deliver.
Well, our viewers, this is an interactive show, so feel free to call in. The number is on your screen. That is 0702 23 24 25. Please, before you call in, kindly turn down the volume of your TV set. Be a bit audible, then we'll be able to hear from you. And be as brief as possible. We need your opinions, we need your views on the topic of discussion, which is the NRM Manifesto Week or the Manifesto Week. And our guests in studios will be able to respond to you. Hello, good morning. Hello, kindly give us your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, this is Kawoya Belwahab, debater in this world. Mugisha Patrick, Mayor to be Kampala Central, is on listening, and Farouk Ntege, Martin the West MPC, is on listening. But my contribution on this discussion, Mr. Robert, one is on the system of transport, which is moving on. We see here in city Kampala, the capital city, they are doing something. But these roads in Kampala, they are not for the majority. We are 42 million and above right now. Majority of people are living in villages. They are suffering to transport system where agriculture is taking place. Another thing, Mr. Robert, yes, when you talk about water and security, you know what is happening now, the pandemic, the COVID, the insecurity. Very many people are taking cases of dying. They are dying due to insecurity. Security is not safe. I don't know what happened to that manifesto of NRM, whether they had planned it when they were opening this term. I don't know what will be next. I don't know whether they think they're supposed to be like that or ought to be. But another last one, before you conclude, Mr. Robert, we are seeing the system which is not run as well, very well. In their manifesto of NRM, it's run by the annual budget. You see what is taking place right now. The MPs, the money they are taking, a lot of money spent. The advisors of the president, the system on security to the president, his office. These people, they know what is taking place. The budget we are suffering now. The people who are in safe houses, we are given money in the budget, but their money is not given among those people who are tortured.
Okay,
what are these people?
Abdu Wahabu Kawoya for calling in, that is Ruwaga. There were a couple of issues that you brought on table, but I believe our guests will be able to respond to many of them. Hello, good morning. You're live on UBC TV. Please give us your name and where you're calling from. Hello.
This is Andrew calling from Bududa.
Yes, Andrew.
I just wanted to also contribute, just like as usual. With somebody who is in the studio, thank you very much. Who is the guest? Thank you very much. I appreciate for, of course, updating us on the Manifesto Week 2020. But I will go directly to agriculture.
Okay.
Generally, when we look at agriculture, where the whole country is spending on, or maybe leaning, I don't know whether the NRM has also taken trouble to look at agriculture critically. We are all leaning on agriculture, whether in town, whether in village, or where in space, wherever you live, agriculture is key. But I have seen most of these things that being done. They talk of security, they talk of other things generally, which are also relatively good. But agriculture, which I thought as a person, it is the key. I think key. When we look at, for example, me, I come from Bududa. When we look at the extension work, maybe when we look at extension services, farmers who are supposed to change from rudimentary farming to modern practices like the president has always advocated, we don't have extension work done. when you look at the district, they talk of wage bill. They have not recruited more extension workers to give this extension knowledge to farmers so that we can change from rudimentary farming to modern farming.
Okay, thank you so
What
much.
is the NRM doing as far as agriculture is concerned so that we can get away or kick our poverty out of Uganda?
Thank you so much.
Robert.
Thank you so much, Andrew from Bududa. Point well stated, and I know our guests will be able to respond to that. We'll still pick another caller. Hello, good morning to you. You're live on UBC TV. Please give us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm called Gerard.
You're called?
Calling from England.
Okay,
Gerard calling from England.
Please go ahead, Gerard.
What?
Please go ahead.
Yes. Actually, they have not added anything because the country is still suffering with a big VAT burden.
Okay.
The,
We are getting you.
yes, when you assess them on foreign capital investment, these investors have not used anything because there is a lot of graduate unemployment. When Indians come, they just give jobs to their relatives.
Okay.
Then it's like a roundabout of foreign capital outflow. When you check them on agriculture, no value added. Because still the export sector of Uganda, which is comprised by agriculture, has not contributed to the country GDP. Then when you assess them on accountability and transparency, still corruption has taken its own agile head, which has made all government programs to paralyze. So I think these 5 years, NRM has added nothing for sure, if you are a critical analyzer. Let us leave these things of books of per capita income.
Okay.
Because when you check them on per capita income, still that one is accompanied by high levels of income inequality. When you check Uganda and the grassroots has not added anything on the livelihood.
As you wind
Thank
up,
you.
my brother Gerard from Iganga. Thank you, Gerard from Iganga. You raised a couple of issues. The agriculture sector, when you look at GDP, what is the contribution? Accountability, corruption, the ugly face of corruption still manifests. I think let's pick our final caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello, good morning to you.
Morning to you. This is Johnson Moore calling from Bali.
Johnson calling from Bali.
I would like to appreciate the NRM manifesto. It was very okay. But only I think they should do much in health. Health is too backward, but in the field of industrialization it is very okay, but health is still low.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So if the government could look in that, in the next manifesto, I think they should put much effort in the health system.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Johnson from Bale. I think let's give people more. Let's speak about 2 more calls. Yes, I think my producer is comfortable with that. Let's continue getting some views of the people. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you. Yes, please, you're live on UBC TV. Please kindly be a bit more audible so that we can get you right from the studios here.
Yeah, this is Bigirwa El Bashir from Boise.
Bashir, go ahead.
Oh.
Bashir, I'm getting you. Please go ahead with your submission.
Yeah, now about the issue of the NRA manifesto, we have heard them talking about the electricity, the megawatts that has gone now that we have too much electricity in the country. But if you see the prices of electricity is very, very, very high, whereby we ask ourselves, is really the common man benefiting from that electricity? Then again, the issue of the road, while some other roads, especially in Kampala, they are very poor roads, whereby they are not supposed to be the roads that are really good for the city. So when they are talking about the manifesto, we don't understand where do they get the statistics.
Okay, thank you, Bashir, for calling in. You talked about electricity, the cost, it's not affordable, and some roads. Okay, let's pick our final caller this morning. Hello, good morning.
Been put on hold.
Oh, okay. Please, let's just give it one more chance. You never know who would get you. Give us your name and where you're calling from. Hello. Sorry, we've lost that one as well. But allow me hot calls at this. I want to thank everybody who has called in. For now, let's have our guests in studios respond to some of the callers and their views or questions.
Thank you very much, Robert, and thank you, viewers. And I want to take special appreciation to those members of our citizenry for these observations and questions. First of all, to me, it excites me because it goes back to what I was saying, that it gives me pleasure to hear people picking interest in how far we have gone as far as these commitments are concerned. Sometimes some people think that the manifesto is just hanging in Kampala. They don't know that as different programs are being implemented in their different areas, they are part and parcel of what these commitments are involved. So I want to agree that the system of transport, this one I think was talking about in Kampala, but also the rural side. If you remember very well, in this term, the government procured 1,151 pieces of road equipment, which were given to local governments to support the maintenance and continued opening up of district and urban and community access roads. And these have done a wonderful job. I must say now that because of the weather, sometimes and the maintenance costs, which are never enough. Some people may not realize, but I want to say that in terms of mobility of some of these feeder roads within our countryside have greatly improved. On the issue of water, definitely the water has come out with a strategy of putting up some water points for what you would call the rural poor, and they even have some of those even within this Kampala city, within those areas where we have our low-income people, and the tariff is also designed to take care of those kind of people, and that not only does it increase accessibility, but it is also interested in making water a bit affordable at that level. The issue of security, I don't know what he means now.
That was Kawoya.
Yeah, that was Kawoya.
Wahab from Lubaga.
Yes. And saying the system is not run well, I don't know what he means, because we have a whole full-fledged party secretariat run by the Right Honorable Secretary General, and I wouldn't want to wander there, because maybe you'll have an opportunity to invite her here, and then she can explain this further. But I only want to say that I think to say the system has not been run well is just a general statement, because if we are not run well, then how were we able to score these highest percentages in the recently concluded LOC elections and other by-elections? I don't want to go beyond here. Then I go to Andrew Duda, who was talking about agriculture. Well, thank you for your compliments, Andrew. And I want to say agriculture definitely continues to be the backbone of this economy. And I also want to say that a lot of interventions in terms of commitments have been made. We now have many value addition supported programs in many areas, in banana and in many crops. If you see how the government has moved through OWC, to avail seeds, to support value addition equipment in dairy, in fruits, in bananas, in tea, in coffee. And if you want now to prove this, then you can go to these supermarkets and see these products on these shelves. And that should tell you that now, as a country, there is something we can be proud about.
Maybe his concern was, he asked, what percentage does agriculture contribute to the government treasury or to the tax base in Uganda?
The minister was presenting yesterday, and I think as a sector, it is now moving to, it was I think from 3 to 5% at the moment, which I think is a very big shift. But it is not to the expectations, like he's saying, and that's why we continue to look at what kind of interventions that can be made in this sector to improve it. The issue of extension services, I know that the government unfroze the ceiling on this, and the recruitment was supposed to take place countrywide. I don't know why Bududa doesn't have extension workers, because this should not be now a problem. And maybe it's a problem of the district local government there, why they don't have extension services. Then I want also to add that there has been improvement in terms of modernization by supporting tractorization. Actually, almost every district in the country, I think, has been given no less 1 or 2 tractors to support this program. Water for production, the Ministry of Agriculture and Water are jointly in these programs through the micro-irrigation support systems, through the dams in the water-stressed areas to support, to improve water availability, but also to support the agriculture around it to improve the yields of the people. In the Ministry of Local Government, it has been restructured to include what we call agri-led responsibility now. The Department of Production, which was now a sub-sector in the production department, the commercial officers have now been made full-fledged, made it a full-fledged department to support this, and the whole interest is to address all the investment concerns in this direction. How can agriculture be supported, and any other related aspects? Actually, even tourism now, they are going to create tourism officers at the local government, so that we can be able to tap into that potential within that area. Gerard Iganga, yes, I could hear your discontent, but I wouldn't say that whatever we have done would excite everybody. There are those who will not be excited. There are those who will say nothing is done, even when it is done. So that's human nature. But I want to say that and assure you that, yes, the COVID pandemic has also exposed some weaknesses in the way we have been running some systems. This is for a fact. And I want to say, like when you were asking which opportunities, now that an opportunity of waking you up and also saying, here you are not doing it well, do it well, to me, I take it to be an advantage.
Also in the health sector.
Exactly. Then I also want to say that the other day, Parliament passed the local content bill. This could probably address his concerns of where he was saying these investors come here and then they give jobs to their relatives, and then there is capital repatriation. All these are being addressed in this bill. What kind of people you should employ within these works, and this is quite comprehensive. Originally, we had this in the PPD Act, where we are looking at reserve schemes, and in the oil and gas sector. But now we have a comprehensive bill that touches every sector, which now applies across board. So, Gerard, if you are very patient with the with the government, these things will come and we will share them as citizens. Of course, accountability, I had already made a comment, and I don't want to repeat myself. Now, Jameson Mbare, on the issues of health, it is true. Our health infrastructure and a few other issues have not been good. But let me also say this, that the strategy for the health sector has been preventive as opposed to curative. And the minister yesterday was presenting that now they even want to put more emphasis. She called it a strategic shift. Maybe they have been handling it, with the kid gloves, but now I think they want to refocus it. What do I mean here is that if most of the diseases that we suffer here as a country are largely preventable. So in that respect, and she gave us a statistic of saying that now in this COVID pandemic, because of the improved hand washing and observation of hygiene, some of the disease burden across the country has gone down. So if it goes down, that means maybe this pressure on health centers and the rest of the medicines would not be necessary. We would now have these health centers to deal with these non-communicable diseases which now need some kind of specialized attention. But the rest we can manage at our own individual level. Mr. Bashir, on the issue of electricity, I want to say that the government also introduced what we call the free connection policy, which the target is like 100,000 people every year, and I can confidently say that over 1.2 million have been added on to the grid.
I think his concern was affordability.
Yeah, the affordability. That's why I'm saying that, of course, at the moment, power is not yet affordable in a sense that the tariff is reflective of all these transactional issues around it. But government has moved in to address some of this, like renegotiating the refinancing of Jagari, and then we are working on the industrial park so that we can increase the supply, and then that can tone down the cost. At the moment, that cost has not translated down so that the people can benefit it, simply because we still have higher generation cost and a lot of power is not yet consumed. But should we have all these investments in place and the power can move and it can be consumed, you can be assured that power will be cheap in this country. And I think you also talked briefly on the roads. The roads, I want to say that in those local governments, Kampala, we have the master plan for the whole of development of Kampala city and the metropolitan areas. That means that will capture also maybe Mukono, Wakiso, and Entebbe, and Mpigi. So it's a question of time, and all these roads and projects are already under design, and they will be rolling out anytime. And probably
is it time out for this particular manifesto implementation?
Yeah,
5 years are just around.
That's fine, but of course you may not be able to deliver on each and everything that you promised. But it is also important to say that, for example, we pledged we are going to do an interchange at Krok Tower. Much as we are finishing the term, the interchange is this. Like I said, because there are many factors at play. You need money, you need to mobilize money, the contractual process of bidding and getting the right people to start off this. So, but to me, the most important thing is the commitment there. Are we ready to deliver on it, however late? Thank you.
Well, we want to thank all our callers. Kawoya Abud Wahabu from Lubaga, thank you for calling in. Andrew from Bududa, Gerard from Iganga, our brother there, Johnson from Umbale, Bashir from Arua there, and everybody who has tried to call in, but because our lines are usually busy, we've not been able to go through. We want to thank Mr. Wills Bashaisha for finding time to come and clarify, give more light about the achievements of the NRM in terms of implementing their manifesto. He is the director, that is Manifesto Implementation Office of the President, for having found time.
Maybe Robert also tell us when will it stop, when will it end, it's going up to when?
The Manifesto Week is a 10-day event, and I think we'll be concluding by Friday
this week.
Okay. So we want to thank you for this opportunity, and we want to thank you, BC, for being there all the time, and live streaming the programs to the citizens. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. That is our mandate, and we'll keep on holding it up. Well, I want to thank you so much. Thank you for being with us from the hour of 6:30. We'll leave you the quote of the day. And Ruben, don't miss all the updates in the world of sports. Then Jagenda Semapa will be here to take you to Good Morning Uganda Extra. God bless you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you so much.